Remember Inferno Reap? When's the last time you played that? Because for me, it's been a while. For context, Inferno Reap was a permanent game mode added in Zenless in version 1.1. In that mode, your mission, if you choose to accept it, was to deal as much damage as you possibly could to the giant flying boss, Nineveh, or as I called it, Nineveh, but then I realized I'm an idiot and that's how you say it. You had a total of 3 minutes to do that as well, so just do as much damage as possible within 3 minutes. You actually had to be Internet level 42 or higher to even unlock it. And because this was in 1.1, you very well could have not been at that level yet. But the other requirement was to complete a run of Withering Garden. Now, if you turn to page 4 in your textbooks, you'll find what Withering Garden entails. Withering Garden was basically just the original Hollow Zero mode, but with some randomizer mechanics to it, and a whole lot of buffs. But the buffs actually weren't for you. When you would make your way through Withering Garden, you would obtain what was called Resnia. Resnia was basically just buffs for your party. And once you finally finished your run of Withering Garden, the game would give you an option to save all the Resnia that you obtained during that run. Once you do that, then you can actually go to Inferno Reap and fight Nineveh with all those buffs. Now, I understand the TV mode was kind of a back and forth type of thing in the community, but for Hollow Zero, I love the TV mode and I'm glad they kept it. Because later in version 1.2, they actually added what was called Blitz mode. And in Blitz mode, it was basically just the combat. They got rid of the TV section. So you didn't have to do the exploration type of mission for Hollow Zero. It was just all fighting. However, you still had access to the TV mode if you so chose. At least in my own experience, I've gotten a lot more Resnia when I do the exploration mode. There's just so many more possibilities and much more risky paths to take. For example, the second you start Withering Garden, you have these research Resniums to choose from. And there's one called Trigger Instinct, where for every 1% of HP that's lost by the agents, they gain a damage increase of 1%. But the maximum is 80%. There are 2 more research Resniums to choose from, but they only go up to about 50 damage percent at max. So you have 80 with the first one, and it's only 50 with the other 2. The other 2 consist of how many coins you spend, and the other is about how many times you reach the pressure overload. And that kind of sucks because when you have a pressure overload, it gives you a debuff that you are not going to be happy with. But once again, once you've completed Withering Garden and you're pretty confident with the Resnium kit that you got, you're happy with the buffs for your team, you're happy with the kits that you have, you're happy with your run, now you can finally take a crack at Nineveh. Now, if you hit Inferno Reap and you hit the little polychrome at the bottom left hand corner, you go to Forged in Battle, you can just see all the possibilities on how much damage you can do here just by the rewards. Now, obviously you can do more than this, but this is just kind of giving you an idea of thresholds and benchmarks that you'll reach. As you can see, for me, I haven't gotten far. But I also think it's very important to mention the actual agents that we had in version 1.1 when this mode released. Mind you, we only had Ellen Jo, Jiyuan, Qingyi, and Jane Doe for limited S ranks. And the only new A rank at the time was Seth. And then besides that, you just had everybody else that came out when the game released at the time. So yeah, that was our ceiling at the time. That's all we had, version 1.1. So once again, I have to ask, when's the last time you tried Inferno Reap? If it's been a while for you as well, and let's just say you're bored, I recommend trying it out again just to see how high of a score you can get now. And looking back on it, this is probably what spawned the idea for Deadly Assault. I mean, that's kind of what Inferno Reap is to a certain extent. It's just do as much damage as you possibly can to the enemy in a small time frame. And except Deadly Assault doesn't have all the pre-game stuff. You just kind of start. I hope one day they add like a new boss to Inferno Reap or something like that to kind of make it fresh again. Because Deadly Assault is just so much more fun, I'll be honest. Like your builds really matter. It could be one disk drive change from getting you over to 20k, you know? So it's just cool. I like Deadly Assault. But my main point is this. If you go back to Inferno Reap right now we have a Void Hunter. Now we have a hot bodyguard and an idol. And you can't forget Now we have King Caesar. Also, and very soon we'll have
On the burger.
But about that, I really want to wait until Trigger releases so we can pair Trigger with Zero Soldier Ambi, because basically it seems that the brand new Ambi is not quite up to par with the other recent DPSs. That's what I've been hearing, so we'll see if it holds true, but not really Miyabi for a comparison, but more so like Evelyn, for example. But you know what? Speaking of Super Soldier Ambi or Zero Soldier Ambi, Trigger, and anybody else upcoming, I guess they'll have to add the Aftershock buffs to Hollow Zero as well. Like, I guess I don't really have to, but just fruit for thought. Like, add a specific card for Aftershocks or something. So, I'm actually going to try a run myself after not trying this since, like, it came out maybe like 4-ish months ago. I think the highest score I got was like 30 million. So there's like plenty more to go after that, and actually a bunch of rewards to get to. Yeah, when this came out, I think Jane Doe was like all the rage. Like that was like the peak character for the time being. I do have some Resnium kits that benefit Evelyn and Miyabi specifically, so we'll see how that goes. Looks like last time, once again, I got about 30 million, so let's see what we can do now.
Good evening and welcome.
And just like that, now I recall why I didn't like fighting Nineveh. Now, I'm not complaining about her skill set or like what she does and her mechanics, because that's just the way the fight goes. But man, the amount of times I'm ready to dish out all my damage, whether it be like a Evelyn chain attack or a Miyabi ultimate, she just flies up and becomes invulnerable. And I was just like, are you kidding me? It happened so many times. But I guess at this point we should know the movements in which she's going to go invulnerable, like when she's about to. So over time I was like learning that as I fought her, you know, again and again and again. I was like, okay, well, I can time this a little bit better now. But here was the Evelyn run. It went pretty well. We ended up with a fairly good score for the amount of investment I have in these characters. I don't have any signature W engines for any of these characters, not Lighter, not Astra. But in the end, it was actually pretty fun to come back to this again. I was trying to go crazy with the Evelyn tech here. I don't think I did that well, but I saw her do a lot of chain attacks, so I was happy with that. But I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot you could extend your time by taking out the tentacles. Totally forgot about that. So some of these runs ended up being like five, almost 6 minutes. So I didn't want to bore you guys with the entire run, because this video would have been like 35 minutes. So we did Evelyn and Miyabi, and I think we did pretty well for the Evelyn team, but you'll see how Miyabi did in a second.
The best defense is a strong offense. This is our chance.
So I ended off here, super cool pose, hero pose. And it looks like we ended up with about 112 million. So that was our Evelyn score with Astra and Lighter. The way they have the number listed, it really bothers me. Like, I wish it just said million, especially if you got over a million. They should just show the million. Big improvement from the last 30 million that we got with like Jane Doe back like 4 months ago. But there's some skill issue in there, and probably could have had some better Resnium kits too, but that was the Evelyn run. Also, I accidentally had the Brimstone on Evelyn. It was supposed to be Mark Out of Desire, but I guess that works too. And finally, the Miyabi run. Now this was just like a whole different fight right here. I've realized since Miyabi has her special run, she can just dash straight to the tentacles and destroy them instantly. You know, it just really was like a whole different kind of fight. Missed Nineveh constantly. Constantly, like over and over again. I was like, geez Louise. Now, to be fair to her, she does have her W engine. She's like the only character on my account that actually has her signature like limited W engine. Eventually, I stopped screwing around and actually got a good run at the end. Had to be real reserved with my ultimates, because your ultimate is like a whole different animation screen, so you can't see Nineveh's health bar. So once you get out of your ult, you come to find out, oh, she's gone. Nineveh is in the air, her health bar is gone, you can't hit her. So that happened a lot. But once I was more reserved with it and I was starting to see like her move towards the middle of the stage, I was like, okay, I know she's about to be invulnerable. So we got a pretty good freaking score here. Yet another cool pose to end off with. That's cool and all, but man, dude, I was pissed. Here we are at 982 million. That was the score we got, 982 million. It's just shy of a billion score there. Like, that's insane of a difference. Like, that's ridiculous. We did have a bit more Resnium kits, or a bit more Resnia, I should say, than the Evelyn team, but holy, I was actually like, I didn't even realize that until like a bit later. I was like, a billion. We were almost at a billion. I'm gonna try again later on my own time and see if I can do that, but yeah, I definitely want to hit a billion. But you can see we got all of the things we were missing here very easily with the Miyabi team. Now, Nineveh is annoying, just going invulnerable at any like random moment, but it's not completely random. She does have certain cues that show she's about to do things, and that is kind of cool. You know, you can't just unga bunga go crazy. You do have to pay attention because you're gonna waste your resources. But all this is done, to be honest, is just excite me for the Geppetto boss coming up next patch. Like, now I'm excited for that. I don't think that's gonna take over like the Inferno Reap section there, but just a brand new boss I'm gonna be excited for. But yeah, there you have it. But my challenge to you, yes, you, my challenge to you is for you to go to Withering Garden, try your best to get a good Resnium kit for the team you're gonna play. Don't put any of the modifiers on because you don't need to. You're just trying to get the Resnium kit. Finish that and then go and attempt Nineveh for yourself and see what score you can get. That is my challenge to you. What is your highest score that you've gotten previously, or what have you gotten just now by trying it? Good luck, have fun, and I will catch you guys in the next one.